There we go. So we have multiple accounts. And so thanks everybody for joining. I'm Doug Brunke, the founder and CEO of Global Chamber. And I'd like to start by wishing everybody, first of all, a happy new year. It's only January 3rd. It feels like all sorts of amazing things have already happened. And January, kind of as expected, is coming at us very fast. Hopefully, you've all had some great downtime and maybe even continue a little bit more downtime. I'd love to be able today to kick off with some information and then go around the room and hear from all of you, hopefully, all of you. Before I get started too far, let me see. I'd like to, because it's late in Malaysia, I'd like to start before I even give a preface with Louis Lau. If Louis, you are available. Lewis is actually a pretty long time member, and he's been a member in multiple different companies. And this company he's doing now is very well timed for the geopolitics of today. That'll be one of the things I'm sure we'll cover in our hour today is the geopolitics related to trade. And that includes the US China relationship and how that impacts countries like Malaysia. Lewis has seen the opportunity to help companies be more successful in Malaysia. And so, through his relationships there in the manufacturing sector and with the government, he has set up a company and he's helping companies set up successfully in Malaysia. One of our early the Globinars, I think it's January 4th, but Lewis and Jem can help with the details of it, is talking about setting up in Malaysia. So, Lewis, thank you for your success. Thank you for your latest venture, and thank you for helping companies migrate the challenges of resourcing and also resettling in new regions. And for Malaysia, also going after an amazing market. Having lived in Singapore myself and have been to Malaysia many times, I love Malaysia. The first couple times I went there, quite honestly, I was a little bit just not used to the dynamics, everything like what was on television and the way the culture was so different and exciting for me. And I had a very great experience because I worked for DuPont at the time, and our distributor there was well connected. He knew everybody in Malaysia. He knew the golf courses in Malaysia. He knew where to eat there. And so to be able to go to all over the country was just a real thrill. I've also, by the way, had the thrill of taking the train from Singapore all the way through Malaysia. And I guess that doesn't go to Bangkok. I think it goes to Kuala Lumpur. So now I have to check a map. But that
Yep.
whole train that goes up along the coast there was an amazing experience. So,
Yep.
Lewis, thank you for your leadership. Could you kick us off and just let us know what's coming up on the 14th and then anything else we should know about opportunities?
Hi, Happy New Year, Doc. Good to see you. Yeah, so on the 14th, we are organizing a Globina, of course, organized by Global Chamber, and we've lined up four other speakers who will be speaking on different perspective about Malaysia. There's one person who is in real estate with JLL. He'll be speaking about the real estate situation in Malaysia. So anybody who is interested to know about setting up in Malaysia, investing in the real estate scene, especially industrial real estate, which is becoming a very big thing. I think it's a very good chance to get a flavor of what the real estate scene is in Malaysia. We've got somebody who is speaking about setting up shop, so dealing with all the government regulations, local authorities, and things like that. We've got somebody, we've got Martrade, who is the trade agency of the Malaysian government, who will be speaking on broader terms about the government policies about Malaysian trade. Malaysia has always been a trade country, even before its formation, for I don't know, 500 years since um, uh, but the country has before the inception of the country, um, uh, we have always been very trade focused because we are right in the middle of Asia and Europe. So major trading routes, a lot of it, a lot of the trade comes through Malaysia, and we like importing and exporting. Malaysia today is focusing a lot on high tech manufacturing like semiconductors, electronic manufacturing services, and so on and so forth. So this is where on the 14th we'll be talking a little bit more about that and going right into the details about why choose Malaysia. Because the funny thing is Malaysia is really not being spoken about a lot on a global scale. Many people think of other countries like maybe Vietnam or of course India. India is huge. Maybe Thailand, but not Malaysia as a manufacturing hub. And I think Malaysia offers really fantastic value for a lot of companies and people who want to just outsource. Malaysia has really offers a really good competitive advantage and value to product owners.
Totally agree. I think it's under the radar. I think especially in the US, we hear a lot as a secondary market of Vietnam. And I quite honestly don't understand. To me, working as an American in Malaysia is even easier than Vietnam. There's issues there. Both countries are great, but Malaysia is one that I think flies under the radar. And part of that advantage is the logistics. One of who was it? It was, oh, it might have been like Hershey Company, big chocolate company in the US. Those of us that lived on the East Coast, as a kid, hopefully you went to Hershey, Pennsylvania and discovered the Hershey factory. They located a factory in Johor,
In
uh,
Johor, yeah.
the southern tip of Malaysia, right next to Singapore, because of logistics, the ability to both use the port and the air traffic out of there. And then the cost and the labor force, and there's so many advantages. So thank you for sharing that. Does anybody have any questions for Lewis or any comments, any experiences with Malaysia?
Hey, Lois and Doug, this is Pankaj. If you are looking for any FDI, this is a FDI like a global chamber. We can help. We are working with multiple companies. We are based in East Coast. So Doug Caesar knows more details as well as everyone. So we can help for foreign direct investment in Malaysia. Thank you. I need your contact details.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Feel free to, whether it's now or as we go along, raise your hand or just interrupt and happy to, or put something in the chat. In fact, I don't see anything in the chat. So I encourage you all to put your information in the chat area and then communicate there as well. I think I have the ability, yeah, to look at the chat area. So, okay, so let me open that up so I can see it. There's a couple of women leaders in the room that I'd like to get to next, and I'll come back to some other things that I wanted to talk about, including what Pankaj brought up, the Consumer Electronics Show next week, which is, we'll have, I think, 4 global chamber events, and we're supporting a new member called Kubota, which, huge tractor company out of Japan and working globally, and 41 companies from South Korea that we're helping, and a variety of other activities. I will have to admit, I've never been to CES. all these years, and I've always wanted to. So it's a bit of a dream of mine to go, and so I'm really looking forward. Erica Herval of Global Chamber Las Vegas is kind of leading us through the week, and Dr. Yun, Dr. Peter Wonsak Einstein Yun, who is our leader in Korea, will be there and leading this big group of companies into Las Vegas. He has a lot of experience, as does Mijong Hibbets with CES, and she'll also be there. So certainly, if any of you have will be there and you haven't let us know, please do. If you still have the capability to come, let's connect and we'll figure something out. And either way, we'll represent hopefully the world well and have more to say. Ghazal Khurshidi is one of those women that I wanted to make sure that everyone knows and hears from. Ghazal is our primary contact with Thunderbird School of Global Management, which is the top international trade school in the world. As I think all of you know, Global Chamber is headquartered inside Thunderbird, and that's because our visions and the alignment is just so perfect. And Ghazal is a key aspect of that, and perhaps the most important, because with the change in leadership at Thunderbird to now Charlotte Griffey Brown as the new dean, and I think it's managing director. That may not be the right title. It's a little bit of a funny title, but nonetheless, she is basically the lead person at the key leader at Thunderbird. But Ghazal has been the glue that keeps us connected to Thunderbird, and her leadership and her professionalism and her follow-up and always being there is like top 0.1% of people that I know. You are amazing, Ghazal. Thank you for all that you do. What's happening in your world and the Thunderbird world as well? Is there anything that we should know about? I know there's a change management class that's coming up. I'm not sure if that filled later this month. And what else should we be aware of about what's Thunderbird got in store for us?
Hey, Doug and everyone, thank you for your kind introduction. Thunderbird is proud to be a partner to Global Chamber, and I'm sorry that I am off video. Yeah, so thank you also for the kind words about Thunderbird. Well, Dr. Griffey Brown and you're right, it's an interesting title, is the dean and the director of the kind of the school.
Director General. That's
Director General. Thank you. Director General of the school. Yeah. Yeah.
When you mentioned director, I remembered. Yep.
Director General. Yeah. So yes, at Thunderbird, like there is not an idle day at Thunderbird, right? We are getting ready to welcome our largest spring cohort to Thunderbird. The next week will be their Foundations Day, and the following week everything will start. And yes, we're going to have a change management class later in January. We are also getting ready for our major global reunion in April that aligns with the 78th anniversary of the school. And maybe something that would be interesting to this group is the Taiwan night on March 28th, to acknowledge and express our pride for the very close relationship we have in Asia and specifically in Taiwan. We are holding a symposium, a research symposium, on Friday, March 28th during the day, and later in the evening, we will have a Taiwan night, which is basically a cultural night. We will do that hopefully in partnership with the sister city and the leadership of Rita Marco. So these are the three major trending things at Thunderbird, and we are working hard to make all of them a success.
Amazing. What is the date for that one?
March 28th, Friday, March 28th evening. If you're in the area, please make sure to stop by. We will have food, art, and culture activities.
What is the date for the reunion in April?
April 4th through 6th.
Great. Fantastic. There's two. Oh. Thanks, Amar Abdul. I think we closed his mic. There are two other events that we're doing at Thunderbird, we Global Chamber of Phoenix. One is April 16th. It's the International State of the Metro, and that includes a panel on autonomous technologies that includes Waymo and Kubota, and then some companies I'm not aware of, but these autonomous technologies have migrated to Phoenix, and part of it is because of the landscape that's been created by a couple of the different governors to make it easy to come. But also, Phoenix is a great place for certain things because it doesn't rain very much. The streets are grid. And so Waymo and before that, Uber used Phoenix as a testing ground for driverless vehicles. Uber unfortunately had an accident in Tempe and they pulled out of the market, but Waymo's been successful. I haven't heard of any problems. And now Waymo not only operates driverless vehicles across the valley of Phoenix, but now to the airport. It recently opened up about a month or so ago, and it also does driverless vehicles now in Los Angeles, which is pretty much of a grid largely and not as good as Phoenix, and then San Francisco because of the company. So that's January 16th, and there is a hybrid version or a virtual version of that one. And then the other piece that we're doing at Thunderbird is the Semiconductor Summit on February 19th. And Pankaj, I know you'll be part of that as well. That one I have a very exciting news because of Ghazal. Ghazal's was able through her network to be able to secure a keynote speaker that is a giant in the industry. Stan Shi is the founder of Acer, which was the first really large technology company out of Taiwan. It remains a significant player. He's on the board, remains on the board of Acer, and he's also now through the Stan Shi Foundation is involved with all sorts of different global impact initiatives. And so we're very pleased to announce, this hasn't even been announced anywhere else, that Stan Shi will be keynote speaking at the Semiconductor Summit. So Ghazal, thank you so much for the ability of Thunderbird to reach out to him and pull him into this event. Do you have any additional information that you'd like to share about that?
Sorry, of course. That was such an exciting news for myself too. At this point, I know as much as I shared with you, honestly. So I hope that we will receive more details in the future communication. But it is amazing that Mr. Shi is joining this event. He is such a great, such a gracious person, and I am really excited that he decided to join as the keynote speaker for this event.
Amazing. So we've had over the years a little bit of a challenge to get TSMC to the table, and he's on the board of TSMC. So hopefully we can still continue to get TSMC there. But we also now through him also have that connection, and Intel's always been part of it. I see Brian Swords, or I saw your beautiful face there for a moment, and thank you for joining. Brian has been Mr. Japan and also Mr. Global Los Angeles for many years. Brian has, I met him well over 10 years ago, maybe over 15 years ago. And early on, he took me to Sushi Go-Go in Little Tokyo. And I think as he knows now, we now live in a home in Little Osaka, part of Los Angeles. So Los Angeles is so global that there's actually two Japan towns. and Little Osaka, which is the Sawtelle neighborhood close to Santa Monica, is, I believe, the first place that the Japanese nationals were allowed to buy property. And so that is one reason why all of our neighbors are Japanese. And we purchased the home from a 105-year-old Japanese lady who had passed away, purchased it from her family. So as Brian knows, I'm a little bit of a Japan file, and I know he is as well. He's working for a Japanese company that does some really unique things. Brian was instrumental in starting the Global Semiconductor Summit, now coming up to our 4th annual one. Brian, thank you for your leadership with that, with the consulate, now on your own in your own consulting company, and investing and supporting this Japanese company and probably others. Is there anything that we should be on the outlook for you or for global business, or anything we should be aware of as we start the week or in the year?
Well, things are looking very interesting here in the US in general. California, not so much in terms of a Japanese investment coming in. We're probably expecting an awful lot. Japan is continuously diversifying out of its own economy, out of China, into places like Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, and more into the United States. We're probably expecting something like $60 billion worth of FDI coming into the US this next year.
Wow.
So it's really a remarkable pace. Unfortunately, a lot of it is going out of California more and more into Texas. If people are interested in pursuing a real hotspot and a real area of interest for Japanese investment, Texas, et cetera. The oil sector, energy sector looks like, conventional energy looks like it may be picking up again. Japanese companies really do follow that trend very closely. There have been, multi-billion-dollar investments during the last administration when conventional energy was at the forefront, making resins, a lot of the supporting resins and technology for the semiconductor industry, in fact, out of natural gas resources here in the US. So some really interesting trends. The Japanese economy in general is becoming more and more globalized. Probably it's going to reach a tipping point within the next several years where more than 50% of Japan's aggregate global GDP is going to be overseas. And the US remains a strong area of interest for Japanese companies. So we're looking forward to some very interesting trends, more and more small and medium businesses too, taking advantage of this and making that foray overseas to the US market and other markets. So next years are looking quite interesting.
Hey, Brian, I have a question for you. This is Tom Edholm. I'm in Phoenix. Do you think that there's going to be any change in the relationship with Japan business because of the Nippon US Steel blockage that happened today?
Yeah, that's interesting. In my assessment, I think it's a temporary stay on what is going to be going on. To a huge degree, the existing competitiveness of the US steel industry in the United States has been supported over the last 20, 30 years by Japanese investment. And that's just a fact. US Steel and a lot of other companies probably would not be as competitive as they are today without, Japanese mini mill production investment. And, we have any number of case studies of large steel manufacturing facilities in the US, including, for instance, California Steel here in Southern California, which is the only existing steel facility in Southern California that is compliant with air quality standards, simply because there's over $1 billion worth of Japanese investment that went into mitigating the pollution. So the U.S. steel industry needs foreign technology. This is proven over the last 30 years. I think that this is a hiccup. Hopefully it's a hiccup. Hopefully there will be some sort of investment by Nippon Steel allowed into this. There's a lot of politics in play right now. But that's not the only investment. It's not going to be a deal breaker for the overall trend of Japanese investment into the US at all, I believe. And I believe there's going to be a workaround on this particular deal with the next administration coming in. So we'll have to wait and see. That's just my personal opinion, but I think that's how it's going to play out.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your insight.
Amazing. Thank you, Brian.
Hey, Brian, this is Pankaj again. I tried for last 3 years, a lot of visited global conference and all. Japanese are very rich. Most of the Japanese company told me directly, we don't want money. So definitely we will talk offline. I think they are the richest, all these companies. We'll talk offline. So probably I'll tell Cesar to connect with you through email. And we wanted to work with you. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Japanese companies are famous for their retained earnings, and it's quite remarkable. We're reaching again a tipping point here in the U.S. where most of the so-called FDI coming in from Japan is actually just retained earnings that never made its way back home to Japan. It's 60+%. That's the trend, and that's going to be growing. So it's a remarkable phenomenon.
Great insights. Thank you, Brian. Anything you'd like to share about the company that you're working with? Any new developments? What do you got planned for 2025?
Well, hopefully to succeed and really bring it into the market. It's one of those game-changing technologies where you run into resistance from incumbent players because they have millions of dollars of investment in what they're doing now. But this is very disruptive, and we're gaining traction. So hopefully be able to make some really nice announcements next calendar year.
Fantastic. Konnichiwa, Yuka. Yuka Nakasone is our Global Chamber Executive Director in Spain. Are you in Barcelona today? Are you in Spain? Are you on vacation? Where are you?
I am in Barcelona. Happy New Year, and thank you very much, Doug, for the invitation today. It's really honor to be here from the first, for the first Globe winner of the year. And yes, I am in Barcelona. I just dropped my friend from Boston, Massachusetts at the port of Barcelona to go on cruise. And that's the reason why I'm in the car. And I slowed down this holiday season, and I'm reflecting lots of things. And it feels like 2025 is going to be a great year. Maybe because I'm well rested and ready to go. And it's been a great Globe winner, this one, because I hear some great news. And the thing that I feel is the globe is getting smaller and smaller. Like Brian was saying that SMBs are becoming more international, right? And Japanese companies Japanese economy is finally tipping at the tipping point. It makes me happy and happier, and I'm trying to help Global Chamber to go a little more in Europe, because here in Europe, I think there's we don't have as many members as we should at this point, and we like to expand the Global Chamber in Europe. And I guess Spain is a great place to start, and because many people coming from all over Europe, and I guess that's a great starting point. And I'm going back to Japan this year, so I'm going to see what I can do for, as a person, as a human being, what my mission is. A Japanese living in Spain, in Europe, speaking in English, understanding Japanese culture and Japanese. What should I do in my life? So that's where I am, and I'm getting more and more information about SMBs, which are I think the greater part of the global chamber that are going more and more global, and they need more support from professionals and network organization like us. So that is going to be a great year. And thank you very much for your support and for your leadership. And I try to catch up with the trend and go as fast as possible. So that's the news from us.
You're always going fast. You're always contributing. How did you get rest? Why are you so well rested? Did you take some time off?
I took 2 days off because my friends were here from Boston, and I just rested. I didn't do any work. I was offline. That's why I'm a little late with everything. And I slept. And do you see my round face? I had good meals and great meals, and so that's my secret. I love cooking. I love eating. So maybe I need some exercise now.
That's funny. That's great. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for all that you do. You're amazing. Let's continue to go around the world. Prob is a longtime member, one of our original members. I knew Prob even before Global Chamber. And one of the really exciting things, I don't know, Prob, if you can speak, but one of the really, to me, exciting markets is healthcare around the world in developing countries. And Prob's been a leader there in setting up hospitals and medical clinics and systems in India. Your son is a medical leader as well. And so Prob, thank you for all of your leadership and support over the years. How are you viewing 2025? And is there anything that we should be keeping an eye open for?
Yeah, hi Doug, and Happy New Year to everybody on the panel, and Happy New Year to all the chamber members who are not here. Yes, 2025 definitely. And what happened? There is on the healthcare front, we are very bullish. There is a lot of medical devices. There is now the world over in the US and recently Gunjan also mentioned, and in the city I live, there are 800 different medical devices being made.
Wow.
So I'm very interested. Yeah, there is a tech zone which only caters to units producing medical devices.
Amazing.
Many of them are previously not going to the US, but in 2025, I'm working with some of the plants to get the US FDA empanelment as a manufacturer. And I'm looking forward to chamber members that are looking for medical devices. Otherwise, healthcare is also becoming more global, and the total FDI in India, only yesterday it was published, 50% of the FDI India received went to healthcare. That's a lot. Okay. So global investment in India is increasing, and India will be a more favored destination for. We are expecting that there will be some tariffs that will be imposed on the Chinese product.
That makes sense.
Okay, very glad to be here.
Thank
Yeah.
Thank you. You're breaking up a little bit, so it's a little tricky to hear, but I think we got the gist of it. You're in
Yeah, very glad to be here. I just said the last sentence I said, very glad to be here. Very glad to be associated with you, maybe 15 years, I think.
I think we've known you for that long. I think that's fair.
Yeah,
You're in
really
Hyderabad
that long.
mainly, or where are you located?
Now I'm in Vishakhapatnam, the coastal town.
Okay, so on the coast. Got it. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for your leadership.
So,
So many opportunities. India is in a really interesting place. Another interesting place is Chicago, Illinois, and Demetris Evans runs Chicago. I think she's the mayor, but at least she's the Global Chamber Advisory Board chair, and she's been doing a great job. I got to meet Demetris in the summer. We did a big event there in downtown Chicago, and Demetris was ruling ruling Chicago. Demetris, I don't know whether you can say a few words, but thank you for your leadership. She's got her own law firm. She helps companies be successful in setting up in the U.S. to help with exporting. And we actually met originally through a fellow whose name is escaping me, but he just came back and he was interested in getting some connections globally. Demetris, are you available to say hi?
I am. Good morning from Chicago.
Yay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day outside. I'm looking outside and then I open the door and it's freezing. So very, very deceptive. But thank you so much. I received that I'm the mayor. Moving on up here into 2025. It's going to be an exciting year, especially in the U.S. I mean, obviously, you know that our incoming president has basically told the world the wrong information about tariffs. And so what I'm hearing is, a lot of chatter about what it really means, and, kind of people on the ground who don't totally understand all that we do in international trade, just becoming more confused about what the tariffs mean. And like we're not really protecting ourselves here by doing that. We're really just increasing the amount of money that Americans are going to pay for anything that comes from, across the waters, across the seas. So that's an educational piece that I think we all kind of have a responsibility to make sure that everyone in the global tribe, which is everyone, understands what trade is and how it truly affects us. What I'm seeing also is, the data protection laws internationally are, as like the WTO begins to really deal with it on a larger level, than locally we are putting in laws to make sure that data is protected. And we've already seen, with 2024 ending, so many data breaches that I think that it could affect logistics this year. I don't see necessarily that we're going to have the same amount of growth in trade. But if there is a slow up, I can see AI being part of it. AI is one of those it's really tricky. It can help us in so many ways. But as we get into generative AI, which are, the machines that now think on their own, we're going into a little bit of danger territory, because if you have machines making decisions autonomously, I mean, just in the wording itself, we're not controlling it anymore. So things are bound to happen. Hopefully not. Hopefully we don't just succumb to the machines, and we keep a tight hold on it. But obviously we see it in everything that we do. So that, along with intellectual property, anytime data is taken, there are international intellectual property issues that come up. So don't want to really, if I feel like I might be the bearer of bad news here, but we have a lot of issues that I think we're going to see in 2025 in trade.
Yeah, the good news on that is that trade this year was a record high, $34 trillion, plus minus, up 3.3% for the year, plus minus. A lot of that was, in fact, half of the increase. It increased by $1 trillion last year. How much of that trillion did you all get? It increased by $1 trillion. Half of that was services, and that's a disproportionate percentage of basically saying that services are increasing faster than product on the global scale. And I think we can probably all feel that the technology is allowing the services like Dimitris's services on the legal side to be able to cross state borders and country borders as well. So I think we share, Dimitris, the concerns that you have. Also, I know that you're also very positive about the future and you're very involved in a lot of different things. We were trading information about Sista Bosses, which if you go to LinkedIn and go to Sista Bosses, SISTA Bosses, there's a group there for women business owners. And so I see Jamil in the call. Probably if you're not, or maybe you're already there because you know Dimitris. We were talking, and Yuka in the same way. Check that out in LinkedIn. And I think one of the things that, since I learned about it, is to understand how we might be able to leverage that for the benefit of Dimitris and the benefit of other people who are involved with that. So Dimitris, thanks for all that you do. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Doug. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. Miguel Puga, is that how you pronounce your name? Are you able to speak? You're a new member of Global Chamber. And could you let us know a little bit more about what you're involved with and also what's your outlook for 2025? Oh, Miguel, are you there?
I am.
Oh, good. How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you very much for the introduction.
Beautiful.
Posted some information on the chat regarding what I do and so on. Being involved, I just joined last week the chamber. Very impressive organization. You have representatives all over the place and a lot of places where I am currently doing business. So being in international business development for more than 20 years, lived in 8 cities in 4 countries, hold 3 nationalities. My company is based in Canada. We have a branch in the US. We have been helping foreign companies to get into the North American market for a long time. Started working with Mexico, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
Right now, I'm doing mostly Spain and Portugal, though some Mexico too. Right now, I'm in Santa Cruz in Bolivia. I am meeting with Erwin Roca from Global Chamber probably next week. I do also some business, have done business in Peru, in Colombia, in Argentina, Panama. I'm often in Panama. Also spend a lot of time in Mexico, besides Spain, Canada, in the US. Important also to mention that I'm a partner of Lean Six Sigma Institute based in San Diego, California. We help companies improve their competitiveness to have a better position in the international arena by helping them reducing operating costs via eliminating or reducing waste in their processes. I got into that about 15 years ago when I realized that a lot of the projects that we worked on would fall apart because companies couldn't really keep up with the business opportunities, the international market. And that's because usually their processes are full of waste and are very inefficient. So they miss opportunities either because they have high costs, they have bad service, long lead times, bad quality, or a combination of all these factors. So also I do a lot of work on that as well. I think that's pretty much it. Open to any questions you may have.
What products and services are you primarily involved with?
In Canada, I have worked with all types of industries, though in what I have more experience is food and beverage. I have also a lot of experience in alcoholic beverages, wine, beers, and spirits. In the US, I have worked with many different industries as well, but a lot of the work that I have done, again, is food and beverage and wines and spirits.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. We're going to continue to go around the room. This is a conversation that we do monthly. We have been originally doing this in Clubhouse. I remember Clubhouse. It's still around. During COVID, that was really huge. It was like the next great thing. And then when COVID ended, that changed its formatting. So we shifted this conversation over to LinkedIn. And then I was in one of our members, Jason Ball, who probably Brian knows from his Japan business in Japan work. He's very well connected in Japan, but he now lives in Australia. He has a show on Japan. And during the conversation, I found out that LinkedIn audio was also being discontinued, or was being discontinued. Clubhouse is still around, but LinkedIn audio is discontinued. So we shifted this to a video call. So our intent is really to be able to just have a conversation with some members, have a chance to meet other members, but also share what's going on, what are some of the opportunities, and just kind of keep the channels open. It's similar to our WhatsApp groups where, it's not something that you want to necessarily do every single day, but if you ever have a need or challenge or you need help, you can send us an email, you can send us a text. There's a bunch of different ways you can do it. And Brian, it actually a lot of that came from the days I would be walking from my office in Gotanda, which is on the southern part of the Yamanote line in Tokyo, over to my home in 45-minute walk up, kind of uphill into Moto Azabu. It's Azabujuban, right above that, there's a kind of a little bit of a hill. If anybody's been to Tokyo, you might be from Roppongi or been through Roppongi. It's kind of close to that. And I'd walk through these little neighborhoods, and old men coming out of bathhouses would pass me while I was walking with my business suit and my briefcase. And I thought, this is a weird experience that probably nobody really understands. And there's nothing that I don't have anybody that I can really share this with, and I did. I mean, all of us have people, right? Occasionally you go and have a beer with someone, but what about on a daily basis? Like if you have a challenge or some issue, or you just want to tell somebody about something weird that's going on, like this old man coming out of the bathhouse that just passed you. That's what the Global Chamber Communities is about. That's what we try to facilitate, and we're putting some more things in place this year, including some artificial intelligence tools that we're learning about, that I've seen. They look amazing, and we're rolling out over the next several months. So that's what this is all about. I wanted to make sure that you all got to meet Lydell Kelly from Cameroon. I don't know whether you can speak, or are you able to chat? He has so impressed me. He's now our executive director for Cameroon. We've been kind of holding the country. As many of you know, there's 30 plus million people in Cameroon, Douala being the capital. There's been political unrest and some challenges there. But Lydell has so impressed me with his knowledge of the country. When he and I talked about some things he might be able to do, even though a lot of his background is agriculture, he knows each of the 8 main regions of Cameroon, and he has plans for developing them. And I'm just been so impressed. And so he doesn't look like he's unmuting, but if you could just say hi at some point, either, oh, there you go. thank you for joining Global Chamber, and we look forward to working with you. Do you have a positive outlook of the future? Is there anything we should know about Cameroon?
Okay. Thank you very much, Duke. Greetings to everybody out there.
Welcome. How are you?
Yeah.
Where are you today?
No, I am presently in Yaoundé, the capital city of Cameroon.
Yaoundé.
And the atmosphere, they are good, calm. The year started just well, and we are aiming high to start with the business calendar year. It is indeed a pleasure joining the Global Chamber, the Unstoppable, and I thank you for that opportunity, Duke. As you see, Cameroon is a strategic country in Africa, because if you hear it say it, Cameroon is Africa in miniature. It is found in Central Africa and the gateway into the CEMAC zone. The CEMAC zone that is made up of 6 member state countries. They use Cameroon because part of the member state countries, they are landlocked. So they use the Douala and the Kribi deep sea port for exports. So it will be a great deal working from Cameroon and working with you people to showcase the products from this end. So it is indeed a pleasure joining you guys. And in the days ahead, you will be getting the true intricacies of Africa. Thank you.
You're amazing. And another amazing person from Africa is in the call, Nima Milele, who is the executive director for Global Chamber Tanzania. She's planning to host a first Global Chamber global event in Tanzania in May. But mainly what she does that's so amazing is helping young people be better leaders, helping everyone have more of an export mentality, and also helping women leaders be more successful. Nima, thanks for all that you do. How's your outlook for 2025? Anything you would like to share?
Thank you so much, Doug. Happy New Year, everyone. I'm really excited to meet you all in Tanzania in May and what has been going on in Tanzania. And thank you so much, Liddell, and nice meeting you. And it's great to have another African brother in the Global Chamber. So Tanzania is having a draft of Tanzania National Development Vision for 2050. It's a strategic framework aimed at guiding the country's development over the next 25 years. It was officially launched on December 11, 2024 by the President of Zanzibar, His Excellency Hussein Ali Mwinyi. And the vision seeks to transform Tanzania into a nation of sustainable development by 2050, emphasizing on national unity, dignity, democracy, freedom, and justice. And key objectives includes eradicating poverty, strengthening the economy driven by domestic production, and position Tanzania as major food producer in Africa and globally. So this is currently in a draft, but it's something that is very interesting and the topic in Tanzania, and it's including youth around Tanzania. As we all know that by 2030, we are going to have 1.3 billion youth in Africa. So there's a lot of work to do in creation of jobs. Thank you, Doug.
Amazing. Yeah, India and Africa, I think, are where it's going to be happening over the next 10 to 20 years, and a lot of our effort will be there. Paula Calderon Ortiz is in the room as well. Paula, are you available to say hi and any outlook that you'd like to bring in from Mexico?
Yes. Hi, everybody. It's good to hear you and nice to be in the room. It's been very interesting session to start the year freshly with new information from everywhere. And I hope everyone gets a really great year on 2025.
Thank you. Could you let everybody know what you guys are involved with?
Yes, sure. We're in Mexico. We're a 18-year-old company providing services for financial entities as contact and call centers. And it's been very interesting. In Mexico, we work for credit unions that are the main ones in here. And it's debt collection. It's struggling a little with reaching the goals because economy is very slow here in Mexico. In the second half of the year has been, well, in 2024 has been really rough. But still, we are expecting to reach new goals with the change of the president of the U.S. I hope the economy reacted. And also for services, we are in a place where call center is very, very big and very widely known. So if you guys would like to have customer service, we can offer this to you into a really well-known service that we give, and also it's something that we really love to do because that's our main added value in our services. So if you guys need customer service for as a call center, that's something we can help you out with.
Fantastic. Thank you, Paula.
Thank
We're
you.
We're only a few minutes from the top of the hour. There's a couple more people I'd like to chat with, and hopefully you guys can hang on a couple minutes past, if that's possible. Ildiko Mokran knows importing and exporting in Europe. Ildiko, I don't know whether you can say hi, but you must be very busy right now, given all the concerns about geopolitics and tariffs and shifting of products and service. You're an expert on shipping products in and out of countries all over the EU and the world. How do you view 2025? Positively?
Hi, yes, absolutely. But it will be so interesting to watching how the EU's costumes will change over the next couple of years as they planning to centralize the customs clearance in the EU, and a lot of changes coming up. They not just in the EU but also in the UK, they planning to implement the deforestations rule, which against would be affecting a lot of traders from America as well. So yeah, but it's absolutely looking forward positively to 2025 and hopefully getting more trades and we'll be continue the expansion, and also the sorry, I actually didn't expect to speaking today. So
Sorry.
and yeah, but definitely looking forward to positively for 2025.
A lot of uncertainty in Eastern Europe as well, with what's going to happen with Ukraine and Georgia's situation. And
yeah, I'm currently in Hungary.
Yeah. Interesting situations, huh?
Well, luckily in Hungary, we don't really feel the tensions from Ukraine and Georgia, but yes, it's a lot of it's a tense and interesting situation. So don't know what's going on and what will be happen, but hopefully turning out positively.
Hopefully so. Thank you for your expertise. Thanks for all the support you provide to the community.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year. Johannes Gates, logistics experts in Southern California. Is there anything that you would like to share? Say hi, and optimistic about the future of logistics. It's going to be another interesting logistics year, undoubtedly, with Panama Canal and oh my God, there's so many things. Go down the list. How are you?
Good morning, Doug. I'm doing well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. Happy New Year's to everyone. And this year, I'm looking to make more meaningful connections here in Los Angeles and across the globe. This year started off pretty good. A new global chamber meeting member reached out to me, and we had a great conversation yesterday. So I'm pretty optimistic about where things are going for me this year and business. Just wanted to stop in and say hello.
Sounds good. I think most of the folks we've talked to, I don't know John O'Leary, or I'm an old guy, so sometimes I forget. But John, you might be a non-member, or are you a member with someone?
I'm a member with somebody. We am part of a consulting firm, Asvita, and
Oh,
the founder Akshay Gupta is based in Portland, and he joined last week and put me on. I guess that under your rules, up to four people can be included in your discussion. So
where are you based?
I'm based right out of Washington, D.C., in
Okay.
Northern Virginia.
What a fascinating guy Akshay is. So many really interesting things. What is it that you're involved with? And is there anything you'd like to share on the outlook for 2025?
Yeah, we're basically, I would say, a business development and management company. We have five partners that have between us a lot of connections in the private sector and very much in the political and government sector across America, as well as India, of course, with Yusuf and Akshay, the Middle East and Africa. Some of our partners have done a lot of work there. Uh, uh, Starting with a long time ago in political campaigns over there, and then got to meet people and has done a lot of private sector work back and forth between the U.S. and those countries. What I am primarily working on right now is a new social media platform called Says Us that is just about to launch. And what makes us different is uh, to get on our platform, you sign up with a cell phone, and our software engineers are putting together a further package, maybe with facial recognition. So I couldn't say that we totally eliminate bots and troll farms, but it makes it much more difficult. So you have a greater chance of actually talking to people. Um, and there is also something that the engineers have developed is a rating system where the community can manage who's on and who's not on if there is a significant amount of misinformation or racist comments and the like. The community, not the owners of the platform, can manage who's on. And I think that one of the other differences that make this attractive is unlike all the other platforms, we are going to share a significant amount of the revenue with the influencers and content creators that the other platforms don't. So there's an opportunity with corporate America and their advertising and private sector. They know they're going to be talking to people at a greater level. And right now, we're in a second round of funding. We have commitments for a significant amount. The money's not in the bank yet, but that's what we're doing now. And the app is in the Android store, and it's going to be in the iPhone store within the next month. And we're going to start to migrate with our contacts and networks and get the thing off the ground.
It's sez.us,
Right.
sez.us. And I did sign up a month or so ago on it. It looks really interesting. There's some interesting people involved with it on the leadership, including yourself. So I couldn't find you on there. I did find some Johns, but I didn't find, I tried typing in John O'Leary. You're in
Well, here's how we got involved. Joe Trippi, who is one of the innovators of this site, I've known since I want to date myself, but 1983 is when we both met working on the Mondale for President campaign, and have stayed in touch over the years. He's part of Esvita, but he is, and additionally, over the last 6 months, has been a major force in getting this off the ground. So now we're connected.
Okay. And
So,
it's Paola, it's SEZ as in zebra, SEZ.US. And
right.
I think it definitely, you can find it in a browser, in a laptop browser.
Yes, you can find it in a browser.
Yeah.
You can sign up just with your cell phone. There's a process. But the apps will all be functioning within the next 6 weeks, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. No, it says you or says us. I saw US, but is it meant to be says us as a community?
Yeah, I guess the name was created before we were involved, before I was involved. I would imagine it's because the people on the platform are going to manage the platform. So it says us.
Thank you for sharing. I think I've covered everyone. Is there anybody that we left out or I left out?
Doug, this is Tom at home. I'd like to introduce myself. That's okay.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
No
You did speak, and I think I checked you off by mistake. So sorry about that. Go ahead.
No worries. Hello, everyone. Really nice to meet you. I'm pretty new with the chamber. I am a founding partner for a supply chain consulting group. We do everything from complete warehouse distribution automation to ERP optimization and all software optimization. So really all areas of the supply chain. The exciting thing 2025 for us is we just see all the geopolitical things happening. It's going to make drive a lot of change in the world, and we really like to help people create more efficient processes and help companies come in and out of the U.S. So nice to meet everybody, and thanks for organizing time.
Thank you. Thanks for your leadership. Is there anybody else that I missed? And if not, I'll just make a quick comment and then turn it over to Cesar Trabanco, who I think all of you know. There are several different, I think, key points that we talked through today. I think generally one of the most important points is that growth will continue unless something hits us like a train. We're going to continue a growth 3.3% this year, probably at least 3% next year, presuming all goes well. And there's some certainly interesting things going on, but generally, the trend is forward. AI sure is scary, but it's also an amazing tool, and it's something that we all should be utilizing in our business, and that's something that we're going to be incorporating this year very heavily with Global Chamber. We have a lot of events coming up, as we always do. The first event, other than this one, was intended to be in a couple hours about Trinidad and Tobago, and so lo and behold, hey, things on the ground there got ahead of us, and there's a state of emergency in the country because of crime wave at the beginning of the year. And so the local folks, our chapter leadership, decided to hold off the event. And so if you ended up signing up for that, it's still on the calendar, but there's a note on there that says, due to things on the ground, we're going to pause and postpone and reschedule this to a time that's a little bit more positive. So hopefully that'll be resolved quickly and we move forward. And next week we have a very full week, including the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas and multiple events and activities. And Renee Meyer was here earlier. She had to leave, but she's one of the speakers, as is Yuka, who is here on talking about cross-cultural knowledge, using your cross-cultural knowledge to be more successful in 2025. I think the actual specific things that each of the speakers, I think there's 4 or 5 of them, will be talking about, is still being put together, but that's the general theme. And so we always try to talk about global mindset at the beginning of the year. It's one of the alignments that we have with Thunderbird, that global mindset is so critical to our success and our success above and beyond the global tribe. So the more people we can bring to have that global mindset, the world is a better place. Cesar, are there any final things that either I made a mistake on, or that I forgot, or that you would like to add as a Happy New Year greeting?
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. Indeed. No, Doug, I think you covered all pretty well. Just wanted to highlight on the Young Global Leaders program that we were planning for January 15th. And the whole idea is to continue doing this. Those who have been with us for longer than 2 or 3 years know that we were doing a lot of Young Global Leaders before. And so that's one of my plans for 2025 is to go back to that. So basically, I'm gonna add the link here in the chat box along with the general calendar link. But for any, if you got any colleagues or interns, anyone in your family that's in the young entrepreneur stage, feel free to invite to these conversations. They're really encouraging, and so we're gonna do the first one with the Heinrich Foundation based in Singapore, working closely with Thunderbird and other worldwide universities. But then we have some other ideas, like Pauline Crawford might be taking on the one after that. So sharing that on the chat, and just to add to what Doug mentioned on AI, I've been having some conversations with some members that might be able to help us pull together a couple of ideas and tools for introductions and for identifying and business matching. So there's a lot of that in the oven for this year. So thank you again, everyone.
Thanks. And I see Brian, and I'll mention this, I'll send you an email, Brian, but there's something called Digital Davos, which is October 20th through 23rd. And the person who leads that is actually based in LA. And it's a virtual event that you all can join. And as soon as the Global Chamber section is set on the 22nd of January, and we can communicate the time and who's speaking and all of that. But Dr. Sanjeev Kagram of Thunderbird, now Global Chamber, was the one that introduced me to this group. And it's amazing. It's a tremendous group. And there will be a Global Chamber section, and there will be some of us in LA. I think it's in Beverly Hills somewhere. And so, Brian, I'll send you that just in case you can attend. And I think you know Dr. Kagram. And so if you want to reconnect with him, he'll be there as well. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks for joining today. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you,
Happy New
Demetrius.
Year.
Cheers.